Hey, how you doing? I'm Greg Granger, and thank you for joining me for lesson number 10, Intro to Drums slash Rhythm. I appreciate all of those who have been with me and been watching these lessons all the way from lesson number 1. And hopefully I've shown you or shared something with you that you did not know and it's helped. If I showed you one thing, if I shared one thing with you and it helped, then I think I did what I was supposed to do. Okay? But hey, before we jump into this lesson, of course, let's do this disclaimer and then we are going to roll. Let me bring it up. And here it is. If you are 18, tell your parents you are doing this session. Feel free to ask questions and make comments, but stay safe online by just using your first name. Don't give out your contact details. And I hope you enjoy today's session. Yes, yes, yes. So, I am doing this in my basement. I'm on the East Coast. So I have a little towel here, and if I have no AC, and right now the temperature is it's like the equivalent of your 29, but with the humidity. And if you know anything about the East Coast of the U.S., and I'm right in Maryland, my goodness, it feels like it's 93 degrees or 34. Yeah, so hopefully I won't like break out into a sweat. I'm going to try to stay cool and collective. Lesson 10 is a recap. I think I did a recap of 1 through 4 for lesson 5, and this is a recap from 1 all the way through 9. Um, I hope you have your pots. I hope you have your pans. I hope you have your drumsticks. I hope you have your spoons. If you're going to beat your legs, I hope you're going to do that. If you're going to play your arms, but we're just going to go over everything. I'm not going to dwell. I might stay in a certain area here and there, but give me comments, send me comments, and let me know what you think of the lesson. Okay. Um, we have to start with a groove first, a beat or a groove. I don't know. I always pick 4/4, so we'll do this in 4/4. Whatever it is, I'll start it and you join in with me, playing whatever you're gonna play. 1, 2, ready. Just to loosen up a little bit. Cool, very cool. Okay, so I have my sheet, my notes over here. Lesson 1 started. I was actually in a different location and it was cold. I had my sweater on. But lesson 1, that was the intro to notes and time signatures, if I'm not mistaken. We talked about, and I'm not going to hold a lot of these up, but remember this? Remember this sheet of paper right here? Yes. Yeah, cool. This was lesson 1. The whole note, the half note. I'm sorry, I guess I should do it this way, right? The whole note, the half note, the quarter note, eighth note, 16th note, or the way you guys would say it, the semi-breve, the minim, the crotchet, the quaver, and the semiquaver. We talked about how these notes are related and how they are counted, how you count them, how you count them. We talked how they're related and how you count them. Again, you know me, if I mess up, I'm just going to keep going. We talked about the fact that the 8th note has 1 flag and the 16th note has 2 flags, right? And if it's a straight line, it'd just be 1 bar. or it would be 2 bars. We talked about all of that. And we also did the breakdown, right? I know you can see these. Yep. We talked about how you have a whole note and how 2 half notes make a whole note and how 2 quarter notes make a half note, how the whole note and a half note are open. They're not darkened in or colored in. It's just a nice openness. And sometimes for slang, we call these footballs because it's just one big round circle. Yeah? Cool. We talked about how 2 eighth notes equal a quarter note. 2 16th notes, see the 2 lines? That's the 2 flags, equal 1/8 note. The bar, the flag. 2 bars, 2 flags. So we talked about this in lesson 1. And like I said, I'm not going to dwell on it, but you should have an understanding of that. I'm going to put these guys over here. We talked about the fact that eighth notes are counted 1 and 2 and because it has the downbeat and the upbeat. We also said the quarter note is the downbeat. We talked about time signatures as well. Remember this guy right here? Yeah. Okay. We talked about 4/4, 3/4, 6/8. We talked about what those numbers meant. That the top number tells you how many beats are in the measure, and the bottom number tells you which note equals 1 beat. The numbers at the bottom represent a note. The 4 represents a quarter note. The number 8 represents an eighth note. And if you have a 16 at the bottom, it represents a 16th note, okay? But the top number always tells you how many beats are in a measure. So we talked on this. Like I said, we're just going back over everything we talked about from the beginning lessons, right? We discussed what a measure is, or a bar, and I used the example of train cars. You know, I said put a few train cars together, and that's the equivalent of putting a few bars together. And in each train car is your note or your notes and your spaces, and you put those together, right? You put those measures or those bars together, and that will create whatever that song is for you. You have your time signature, and really quick, 4/4, not really quick, but 4/4, nice and easy. 1, 2, 3, 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Turn this down some. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you already know I'm doing eighth notes on the hi-hat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Can you hear that? I don't know. I'm kind of messing with the sounds a little bit. There we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4/4. 3/4 would be 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, play. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 3 beats in the measure. Quarter note equals 2. 1 beat, exactly. All right, and so forth and so on. We also discussed, we talked about, we went over, however you want to say it, the rests that are the same as the notes. Remember this sheet? Yeah, I'm hoping that these are coming in because I'm not going to do that Zoom thing. I think I just want to hold it closer. Whole note rest, hanging from the line, right? It's so, the whole note, it ate the whole pizza. It's so heavy that it's hanging from the line. That's why it's hanging there. And that's a little trick to help you distinguish the difference between the whole note rest and the half note rest. The half note, bang, half note rest. It sits up on the line, okay? That hangs, that sits up on it. Quarter note rest. Like I said, it's like a little I don't know, crazy looking E or three or lightning bolt. I don't know, but that is the same. You count it the same as a quarter note. Eighth note, rest. Yeah, looks like a crazy seven. And 16th note rest. Just add that other little flag on there. Count it just like a 16th note. Cool. So if you have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and if I put eighth note rest on 1, it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. If I put it on the and of 1, it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You count it just like an eighth note. If I have quarter notes and I stick a quarter note rest in there, let's say I do 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to stick a quarter note rest on 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right? You still count it, you just don't play it because it's a rest. And you know we talked from day one, you have to count. When you play drums, when you're reading your music, count. Now, if you're learning, I suggest it's nothing wrong with counting out loud. All right? Just so you can hear yourself. But as you get better and you read more, you won't be counting out loud. The band won't be playing and you won't be going 1 and 2, 3 and a 4 and a 1. You won't do that. But you definitely have to count. It'll help you to lock it in. Cool? Very good. So then we went on to playing. Yeah, I just did a little bit of that where we played in the different time signatures. Yeah. So I won't go back to that. We did that, guy. But we talked about the sheet music, how it looks. We talked about the understanding the treble clef and understanding the bass clef and how many lines are in the treble clef and how many lines are in the bass clef and the spaces, right? And I used this diagram here. I'll put it closer, right? Now, I use this real quick. I have the larger ones, but this is what a complete staff looks like. Treble clef and the bass clef, and they're tied in together. This is your complete staff right here. But let's use the larger ones. Let's start with treble first. This is the treble clef, right? You can tell, or the G clef. You can tell from this shape. It looks like a cool G in a way. You see the lines and the spaces have names. We went over those. Every good boy does fine. That's an E. That's a G. If there's a note on this line, it's a B, and etc. If there's a note on this line, that's a D, and that's an F. Spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 spaces, right? F-A-C-E. There's a note in the space. This is F. That would be an A. This one would be a C. This would be an E. We went over this. Do you remember this? If not, take some time and write it down right now. Take some notes. Because everything is in this lesson. That way you won't have to go back. I mean, I think it's cool if you do go back. But you can take it. Got it? Cool? All right. Now, the bass clef, or the F. See how it kind of starts there, circles right there. I don't know if you do it here, I guess you could say. But let's say this is where it circles in at, on the line of the F. So it's bass clef or the F clef. Yep. But it's the same thing. 5 lines and 4 spaces, right? And we talked about different acronyms to come up to help you remember. All cows eat grass for the spaces. All cows eat grass, right? Or great big dogs fight animals, right? I think I used good boy does fine always because it stayed in the line of every good boy does fine for the treble clef. And the same thing. There's a note here on this line, it's a G. If there's a note here in this space, it's an A. Okay? All righty then. So, again, if any of that helped when we touched on that at the beginning, then I'm glad that I could share that with you. We also discussed the fact that in drum music, sometimes you won't see a clef. You may not see a treble clef, and you may not see a bass clef. Sometimes you will. You'll see a treble clef, and or the music might be written with a bass clef. I don't know why it's like that. I think if you're just playing drums, I don't think it matters. It does matter if you're playing, let's say, timpanis or marimbas or xylophones, because then you're dealing with keys, and it doesn't make a difference whether you're in the treble clef, which is where most of the time all the high stuff is going to be in the treble clef, because that's where the high stuff is, or the bass clef where the low stuff is. That's where the low stuff is. Okay, so it would matter then. But snare drum music, if you're just reading some snare stuff, it might be treble, it might be bass, it may be no clef. Cool. All right. 6/8, groove in 6/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, ready and play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Okay. Did you play something? Cool. 6/8 again. I'm gonna do the arm set this time. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. See how I stuck those 2 3s in there? Because, you know, it's still math, like I said. 3 times 2 is 6. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You would be able to know which one is the right meter. First of all, it's going to tell you on the sheet music, but you will feel it and you'll hear the melody and you will hear the phrasing. We talked about that last week, but we'll go back over that as well. Cool. So then we went to one of my favorite subjects. We talked about rudiments. Yes, we did. We talked about, goodness, we talked about the roll, the 5-stroke roll, 7-stroke roll, 9-stroke roll. We talked about the paradiddle, single paradiddles, double paradiddles, triple paradiddles. We talked about rough. We talked about flams. We talked about flam accents, right? And we talked about flam taps. So just real quick, if we're going to touch on anything, let's, here we go. Let's put this guy here. And let's do this right here. Cool. So I'll play it up here so you can see, because I have the snare is being blocked by the tom. But we talked about the flam, right? We talked about the upstrokes and the downstrokes for the flam. Flam, but it should be tight. Flam, flam. I hope you can see this. Flam, flam. talked about the rough, 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 2 quick bounces, and then followed by a downstroke, rough, 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 right? We talked about flam accent, flam accent. It's the flam and then accent, flam accent, flam accent, flam accent, flam accent, flam accent, right? Very good, very good. Did we do flam taps? Probably. Right? So, you can take rudiments, and I'm just gonna space it. I'm gonna do some on the snare, and then I'll just space them out a little bit on the snare. On the drum set. Nothing fancy, but you can see how you can be inspired to come up with or create some different grooves, right? So, for instance, let's take the flam accent, which is flam accent, flam accent. I need to slow this down. Flam accent, flam accent. Again, you probably can't see this, but I'm doing flam accent, flam accent, flam accent, flam accent, right? So if I go 1, 2, ready, play. If I go. That's a flam accent. 2, 3, 4, flam accent, flam accent, flam accent, flam accent. Putting quarter notes on the bass drum, right? So there are different things you can do. Do some rudiments and, I don't know, space them out a little bit. I know we did the paradiddle, and we just kind of placed that on different parts of the drum set. Single paradiddle, 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 which is what? Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Right, very good. The diddle is always a double bounce. That's how I explained it to my beginning students. And all of these lessons that I've done have been from the vantage point of introduction. So I am taking the approach that I'm dealing with people who are just learning how to play drums. So these are beginning steps. Now, if you work on these and practice, right, use your metronome and practice, they will help you. They will take you to the next level. Okay? All right. So, paradiddle, paradiddle. Right, left, right, right. That's the diddle. Right, left, right, right. That's the diddle. Diddle, paradiddle, 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 paradiddle. Got you? So, let's just place that somewhere. I put my, I wanted paradiddle. Right? You have fun with that. And of course, you know the beat. Right? You can even do right, left, well, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, but it's going to be like hand, foot, 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 right? The quarter note is here now on my hi-hat, right? So you can take those and just take all the rudiments and try some different. I don't know. Let's see. Flam tap. Flam tap is what? Yeah, flam tap. Right. You could probably do that with the Flam X, and I don't know. Just be experimental with it. What else you want to try? Out of the rudiments that we talked about. Double paradiddle, but I think I did show you that double paradiddle is just a cool way of actually playing in 6/8, right? Double paradiddle is double paradiddle, double paradiddle. You can actually say its name, and it will allow you to do the sticking just like a paradiddle. Double paradiddle, diddle's double, is a double stroke. Double paradiddle, right? Right? Slow it down, Greg. Double paradiddle. You do it. Very good. Do it again. Double paradiddle. Go. Very good. Okay. Got you. So if you do. I'm going to count you in this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool? All right. Cool. So I think going over the rudiments, you got an idea, and you know that they are played a certain way. We talked about the upstroke. We talked about the downstroke. Do we need to refresh our? Okay, real quick, because somebody out there said, yeah, show me the upstroke and the downstroke. So yeah, so the best one to demonstrate that with is, for me, is always the Flam, because the Flam is this guy. Hopefully you can see that. Okay? But to do the Flam, you start with an upstroke. The stick is here, and you come up, this guy comes down, right? Remember that? Yeah, it's coming back to you now, right? Right. Uh-huh. Upstroke, then downstroke, then right. You remember that. And the rolls, 1, 2, 3. How many did I do? You remember the shortcut? 5-stroke roll. Very good. That's right. Remember the shortcut. Since you're doing doubles, so each time my hand goes down, that's 2 beats. That's 2, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 1, 2, 3. That's 6. Take away 1 is 5. There you go. 5-stroke roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Cool. And so forth for the 7-stroke roll, because my hands would move what? How many times? That's right. 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Take away the 1 is 7. And the same thing for the 9-stroke roll. My hands would go 5. Take away 1. Well, 5 times 2, I'm sorry, is 10. Take away 1 is 9. You got it. Cool. Very cool. And so then I just went over understanding how to count and play the basic rudiments, right? I did go over that. And we talked about the rough, And I believe I showed you what a paradiddle would look like, regardless of how it's written, whether it's quarter notes, ta-da, or eighth notes, da-da-da-da, or 16th notes. Da, 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 da. It's still right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Still a paradiddle. This would still be counted the same way. Or you would still stick this the same way. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Okay? Paradiddle. Now, one of the shorts, I know I did like this whole big thing of showing you what a double paradiddle looks like. There we go. Right, left, right, left, right, right. Double paradiddle. Double paradiddle. Yeah. It's my table right here. Hopefully none of that stuff will just fall while I'm doing this. And I know I just showed you what the paradiddle, or the single paradiddle, looks like. Paradiddle, paradiddle. Right, left, right, right, because your diddle, that's right, the diddle, 2 strokes, diddle, paradiddle, paradiddle. Right. Cool. And then I had to do this real long thing right here for the triple. Don't fall, don't fall, stay up there. Perfect. Now, the triple, if I hold that up, the triple paradiddle is 1, 2, 1, 2, right? And I told my students to help them, just go 1 or 2 or 3 a diddle. 1 or 2 or 3 a diddle. Because single paradiddle is paradiddle, 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 double paradiddle, double paradiddle, double paradiddle. I couldn't come up with a triple diddle. It just didn't work. Dimple. Nah, didn't work. So I said go 1 and 2 and 3 a diddle. 1 and 2 and 3 a diddle. That helped because you got your 1, 2, 3 diddle. 1, 2, 3 diddle. Okay? As long as you remember the diddle is a double stroke. And that's what this bad boy looks like when I see it. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, left. 1, 2, 3, diddle. 1, 2, 3, diddle. Cool. All right. I'm making a mess over here, but I think it's going to be all right. Take a little sip of H2O. Cool. Just rudiments. What's that? Flam accents? That's right, okay. 5-stroke rolls. Rough. Flams. Now you won't see a drummer like really do the sticking when they're playing and doing a solo. They won't go. Most of the time you won't see that. If anything, they'll do. You know, because that's just, it's a whole different, you're in a different place then because you're playing. But you never know. There are some killing cats out there that will do the proper sticking on everything, regardless of the moment that they're caught up in. Okay? So that was just a demo of, if you can work out some of your rudiments, you can do a little solo. You can fill in, you can ad-lib just with paradiddles, flam accent, because that's all I used. I mean, I may have thrown a single stroke in there. Those are singles, even though it sounds like a single, right? Okay, so you can do that. Practice those paradiddles. Use your metronome. We talked about the metronome. We talked about how important it is to have one of these guys and to use it and to practice with it, right? One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? You can practice, I don't know, off time beats, because this is going to keep you in there, right? This is going to lock you in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get a metronome. I recommend the Dr. Beat. I think it's a good one. Cool. All righty. And I went over the weapons of the drummer, i.e. drumsticks. I don't have them all with me right here now, but I know we talked about drumsticks. We talked about brushes, not the kind that you, talking about brushes, right. We talked about mallets. Another thing I should have showed you in lesson 2. The cool thing about a drummer, or about playing drums, is that you can tell your own jokes and go. You don't have to, no one has to do it for you. But boom, right? You can tell a crate. Why was 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9. See? You can't do that if you play trumpet. There you go. All right. And you can, but it won't be as cool as a drummer doing it. All right. But we talked about mallets. We talked about brushes. We talked about trying different, coming up and being creative when you're looking for sounds. We talked about some of the things that I had to do in the studio, and other percussionists, producers will ask for. They don't care. They just have an idea in their mind, and they don't necessarily care how you have to get it. They just, I don't know. I don't know. I hear this sound, and it sounds something like, oh, yes. What is that? Because it has bottom. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'm just taking the butt end of a drumstick and I'm hitting a plastic water bottle with some water in it. But they might hear that and go, I like that for whatever that 6/8 song is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? So, be creative. Use your different sticks, use different things to come up with different sounds, right? Now I'm just messing around here. Let me see. Yeah, okay. I can't make that work, but you never know. Put some reverb on that. It's like, wow. Just do it once. Somebody will sample it, put it in, I don't know, Ableton, because one of the instructors talks about that. And then you have a funky snare sound that kind of breathes. Yeah? Ideas. You can use that free of charge. I won't charge you anything for using that. All right. But the point is, be creative. If you play music, you should be creative anyway. You are already a creative person. So, playing drums, definitely be creative. What's the main job of a drummer? I told you. To keep time. You're absolutely right. Now, I know you're typing these comments down, but if you yell, as I say, if you yell loud enough to the computer, I will hear you. I will hear you. Mm-hmm. Keep time. That's what we're supposed to do first. Yeah. Keep time. Make sure that song feels like 3/4 or 4/4, but you do your best not to speed up and to slow down. You should know the form. You should always know the form of any song. I personally believe it's the drummer's job to understand the form of the song so you can set it up. If something's coming up and you have to go to the bridge, then you can do now you're in the bridge, right? Because the other people, the other musicians with you, they may not know what's going on. They might be so caught up in the solo and just into the groove, but coming back out of the bridge, you can do something, set it up. Back to the groove of the song. Drummers, we should know that. That's what I think. That's my opinion. I know it's a fact that we definitely should keep time. It's my opinion that we should know the form of the song so you can set it up and help the song move, okay? And be supportive. Play the song, play the music. Put some fire behind it in places, but just don't get in the way of whatever that main instrument is, whether it's a vocalist or a guitarist or saxophonist or saxophonist, as you guys say. I kind of like saying it that way. And when it's your time to do your thing, then do your thing. All right? Cool. But keeping time is the first. And that kind of touched in on what we talked about the last lesson. Ear training, listening to the music, listening to see whether it's in 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 12, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12, 8. 12 beats in the measure. 12 is at the top. 8th note is equal to 1 beat, right? Just like 1,000 years. Did you listen to 1,000 years? Did you listen to it on your own? Gorgeous song, isn't it? Yeah, cool. All right. So, send me comments. Let me know if, first of all, I've had a ball. These 10 lessons, these 10 weeks have been great for me. This is something that I've never done before. I'm happy that the Cloth Cat Studio team, I don't know everyone in the team. I've only communicated with a few people, Shelly and Katie, but I'm so happy they asked me to be a part of this. I learned a lot by doing this because preparing for these lessons, I had to make sure, you can play music and I'll speak for myself. Sometimes I'll play and then I'll take for granted what I know is fact. But I had to really check into it, dig into it, and make sure that I could explain it the way that I wanted to without really getting too deep. All right? So I hope it helped. I hope you got something out of it. Yeah. Thanks for hanging in there with me, right? I will do another short. I don't know if you've seen any of my shorts. I did one called The Dot where I explained the dot and how you count the dot, right? The dot is half the what? Counted half the beat of the note that precedes it. Comes before it or it comes after. However you want to remember it. Got you? So if a dot comes after an eighth note, you have an eighth note and a dot, then that dot is, you count that as a 16th note because a 16th note is half of an eighth note. And you can use that formula for whatever note the dot comes behind, right? So I did one on that. I did one on triplets. Yeah, eighth note triplets, 16th note triplets. I did one on straight beat and shuffle. which is just swing, right? That has to do with that dot. Yeah, that caught me by surprise too. I went to choke it and it crashed. Anyway, so check out my shorts, but I'm going to do another short, and I tend to do them either before these lessons or after, but I'm going to do it after this one. All right. So thanks again. I've enjoyed myself. Send me some comments. The people who have John, thank you. Do this, but I just remember those comments because they were more than one, and I think Mark even sent me uh, something saying that he was actually going to buy a drum set. Yeah, and there was a comment was sent by someone that used, I don't know, a dog and PS2 or something. I don't know, but thank you for all the comments. Yeah, so I'm not sure when I see you again, but I will see you again, and continue to stay in touch with Cloth Cat Studios. Subscribe if you haven't done it already. And yeah, I'm not going to say I'll see you next week, but you never know. I might. Ha ha. Okay. Have a good one. Continue to stay safe. Thanks. Bye bye.